really think that dance is something that's innate to humans, and it's not really until we get self-conscious about it that we stop doing it. So especially working with these older populations, it's really wonderful to be able to reintroduce that freedom and that mode of artistic expression to people who have kind of closed the door on that chapter of their life, maybe. My name is Kate Stark, and I am the current CB Moves coordinator at the Cincinnati Ballet. CB Moves is an adaptive dance program. Initially, it served youth ages 4 to 18 with a variety of disabilities. Those could be physical, behavioral, cognitive, developmental, really anything that would make a student have difficulty in a traditional ballet studio setting. So what we do in those classes is we try to break down those barriers and provide support for students so that they can access dance in a meaningful way. So for our youth classes, we tend to take a more adaptive approach. So adaptive dance is really looking at the steps that you want students to be able to perform. You'd look at those movements and say, okay, what is the essence of this movement? Plie means to bend. So if my student doesn't have access to their legs to bend, like you would in a traditional ballet class, how can I do a plie with my students? Well, you can bend all sorts of parts of your body, right? You can bend your arm, right? We would traditionally call this a port-a-bras, but you can bend your arm. This could be a plie for some students. It could go to the shoulders, yeah? You could bend your neck. You could bend your fingers. In addition to servicing youth, we now also service adults with disabilities through residencies and workshops with partners in the community. We service people with Parkinson's through classes that happen in studio and also residencies out in the community. With some of our older students, some of our Parkinson's students, our seniors, our individuals in the memory care arena, we think about things more inclusively. If someone's not going to retain something necessarily from class to class, we want each class to be a really unique artistic experience for them so that they can feel fulfilled in that moment. Dance also helps with cognition. It's been proven to be really effective in helping create new neural pathways. So for example, with Parkinson's, people who have trouble walking across a room, that's a really ingrained neural pathway. You know, how many years have you been walking one foot in front of the other? Those are the ones that are most affected by diseases like Parkinson's. And so if you can find a new way to move that your body hasn't been doing forever across a room, that might be easier for some people. So I grew up a very serious ballet dancer. And then I went to college and pursued a completely different career. I was a TV news producer for 3 years. But ultimately, I just really missed dancing, so I quit and waited tables for a little while I figured things out. And it was during that time that I saw a Facebook ad for introductory training for Dance for PD, which is a program that was developed by the Brooklyn Parkinson Group along with Mark Morris Dance Company. So I went to that because my dad has Parkinson's, and he was diagnosed when I was 10. So aside from ballet, Parkinson's is probably the longest relationship I've had in my life. And I thought, how cool that there's a way to combine the two of those things. Then I started teaching youth adaptive classes, and then I started administrating more, and we began expanding programming. And now I get to teach and administrate classes for youth with disabilities, people with Parkinson's, seniors, and those who have dementia or memory care concerns. I was always a kind of quiet kid, and I think where public speaking really wasn't my jam, dance allowed me to express myself artistically and creatively and tell stories with my body in a way that I wasn't always clear with my words. I wish as a dancer I had learned sooner that one individual's opinion doesn't equate to the whole field of dance. I think if you're not connecting with the instructors where you are currently, We're very lucky, especially in this region, to have a wide variety of dance programming and education available. So I always encourage people to just take class a bunch of different places, because you're going to pick up different things from every place that you go to, and you might find that there's an instructor or a dance modality or a company that you really connect with that you feel like is bringing out the best in you. I'd also advise students to seek out mentors in the areas that they're most interested in. Having training in the Dance for PD methodology has been tremendously useful to me in having a network of peers and colleagues and people who've been doing it a lot longer than I have to be able to bounce ideas off of or come to with problems or concerns. No one's got all of the answers, and so it really is useful to be able to look to a community of people when trying to troubleshoot. Another tip I'd have for young dancers is to listen and adapt. You're constantly doing it in class, you're constantly taking corrections or feedback and applying them, but you can also do that in your career. You can listen to what the landscape of your career is telling you. Do I fit in the place that I currently am? Is there another interest that I really want to pursue? Do I want to find a way to knit together two interests that might seem disparate, but there's actually some middle ground there? Finally, I'd really like young dancers to understand that there's room for everybody within dance. Whatever that looks like for you. If you want dance to be part of your life for the long haul, that's absolutely possible. It doesn't matter what kind of injuries you've had, what kind of facility you have. There is room for everybody. You could choose to pursue dance as a performance art. You could choose to pursue dance as a teaching artist, as an administrator, and there's a lot of different roles within all of those buckets. I think there's a lot more visibility for dancers with disabilities nowadays, which is wonderful. Everybody can dance. There's a home for everybody within dance. And if you're a dancer with a disability who wants to perform and wants to pursue this professionally, there are ample opportunities out there for you. It might not seem like it right away, but I think a lot of places are really open to individuals approaching them and saying, hey, I love to dance, I want to dance, here are my limitations, and just being open about that. Here are the accommodations I would need to succeed in a classroom. I think those conversations are happening more and more, which is really wonderful. Unfortunately, I think it is often still on the student to advocate for themselves or the parent to advocate for their student. But a lot of times, that just looks like a conversation, right? It doesn't need to be adversarial. I think whatever you're passionate about with dance, there is a way to do that. You might not have a traditional career blueprint, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that you need to investigate a little bit more, talk to people about what you want to do. There's a way to get to where you want to be. It might not be a straight path, and that's okay. You don't need to be there today.